Today I'm going to talk about Silent Scream. Just got this a couple days ago, and I got the chance to watch it. It's the first one that I picked out. On the back of this it says 1982, but I'm pretty sure this movie originally came out in '79. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to tell you a little bit about some facts about the movie before I tell you about the movie itself. Okay, so Barbara Steele is in this movie. She's not in it a lot, but she's got one of the main parts, and she's the most popular person that's in this movie. She was big in the 60s and 70s. She starred in Black Sunday, Nightmare Castle, The Ghost, Piranha, and a lot of other movies. And after doing some research, I think maybe this one might have been one of her only movies that she did in the 80s. It was released in '79, but I don't think it came out on video until the 80s. So we'll just give her credit for doing one movie in the 80s. And then she did a couple other things in the 90s, but she didn't do much after the 70s. So this is probably one of her last big parts that she was ever in. Now, the director, Denny Harris, I looked him up, and this was his only movie. I didn't see anything else that he did. So he made this, and that's it. The writer's pretty popular. Ken Wheat, he wrote Pitch Black, Nightmare on Elm Street, Number 4, The Dream Master, and then some other really good movies. So he's definitely good at what he does. According to the stats that I looked up, this made $7.9 million, but it said / rentals. So I don't know if it made $7.9 million in rentals or if that was part of the box office bring in also. I don't really know about that. But what I do know is that this movie was made in 1977 and it was like considered to be trash. So they had scrapped the whole thing. Decided to redo it, change some of the cast. They redid about everything. And I guess only 15% of this movie is from the original that came out, which never got released, but the one that they put together, only 15% of it exists. It'd be interesting to see on a DVD or Blu-ray release the original version, just for the heck of it, to see why they thought it was so crappy. Now I'm going to start talking about this here a little bit. Okay, the movie starts with cops showing up at a big mansion on a hill. It's done in slow motion. They're doing this like walkthrough of the house. Obviously something went wrong, but nothing downstairs. They're scanning it, and they decide to go upstairs, and then you see bodies laying in pools of blood. But you don't really know what it means because it cuts off, and that's it. And it starts into the main part of the movie. But what you realize after you watch the movie all the way through is that they started the movie with the end scene. So that doesn't ruin this movie for you. It's just I don't really know why they decided to go with the end scene first, but it's actually pretty cool. Sorry, got this crappy sinus going on, so I keep clearing my throat. Okay, so it starts with, after that walkthrough and everything, it goes to present day, and Scotty Parker is, well, actually not present day, but it goes to the present story. Before that happened, Scotty Parker is getting ready to start class at the local college. She's looking for rooms. She's asking about it, where can I stay, where can I live, and they told her basically nothing on campus, so she'll need to go look. So she goes out looking in her little convertible type car, and this funky music's playing. She's stopping at different places. They're shaking their head no, so obviously she can't find a place to stay. She drives outside of town down this windy road, and there's the big mansion up on the hill. So she drives up there. And there's another student there when she arrives, and she's out back. Her name's Doris. And she already has a room in the house. And she says that she believes there's another one left, but she needs to talk to Mrs. Angles, who runs the house. But that Miss Angles really doesn't come around much, so she might talk to her son first, and her son's name's Mason. So they hurry up and go to the front of the house, and this other young guy is there already, so they think he's going to get the last room. So they're rushing up there. She's like, I was here first, whatever, And Mason's like, no, don't worry about it. We got 2 rooms. So everybody's got a room, and they're all filled. Peter's a rich, goody two-shoe guy, and he takes the big room. There's also another guy that's already had a room there too, and he looks like a Ken Barbie doll. So that's how you compare this guy. But so there's 4 college students in this house, and what could go wrong? Strange house up on a hill, 4 students. Nothing's going to happen, right? And Mason, the guy that they're talking to, hold on. Very strange looking, creepy, nerdy. But nothing can go wrong, right? No. So as they're getting their stuff ready and getting used to the house, Mason's lurking around, looking like a weirdo, eating a cold meat sandwich. So obviously he looks like he's no good. He's looking like a guilty character already, and he hasn't even done anything yet. Doris and Peter, they decide to have some fun by the beach. Peter's a bit drunk from downing a few too many brewskis. Being a jerk, he hides from Doris, and there's a beach, and then there's this I don't know, there's like this hill, and he comes around it and hides back there, and it's getting kind of dark. So Doris looks around and doesn't see him, and she's panicking, and finally he comes out of nowhere and scares her. She gets pissed off and leaves him on the beach by himself, and he can barely walk anyway, so he ends up laying down and falling asleep in the sand. The tide rolls up and wakes him, and as soon as that happens, he's killed by a butcher knife. You don't see anything but like this hand and a butcher knife come up, and that happens about 32 minutes into the movie. So it took for the first action sequence, it took 32 minutes. So it's not like super fast-paced movie. The body is found, and Detective Manny investigates the case. He looks like Super Mario in a suit. Now I'm serious when I say he looks like Super Mario. He's got the big, thick mustache, and he just has the big face. He looks like Super Mario. And I guess that the guy, I can't remember, I looked up, I was curious about what other things that this guy had done in his acting career, but he was a musician, so I think he was a singer in a band also, so I guess he's pretty talented. And the actor that plays Mason does a really good job of being really, really creepy. It's almost like Norman Bates from, Psycho, of course. You know who Norman Bates is, but so he just comes off as being, it just gives you this really weird vibe. So you're just automatically thinking this guy is up to no good. But is he? So then Doris is down in the basement, alone, in the dark. There's one little light in there. And this is right after a murder happened, and the killer wasn't found. Not a good situation for her. Her death's coming up. Anybody that does something stupid like this in a horror movie usually dies. And of course she does, and she gets killed with a butcher knife also. Lots of blood. They're splattering everywhere. White sheets are hanging up there drying, and the blood splashes up on the white sheets. So it's a little more graphic than the first one, but it's not near as graphic as a lot of other slashers. It just was really crazy for me to think that she would have went down there in this big house alone in the dark with this little light and done laundry by herself. Then Scotty goes into the basement to search for Doris, down alone with a flashlight. As she was just having sex with Jack, why didn't she just ask Jack to go down with her? Who knows? But anyway, she goes down there alone too. Guess what? She comes up missing. So it's Jack's turn to go find people. He goes to the basement. He opens up the door and he says, "You down there?" Nobody replies. Jack shuts the door. Is Jack the only smart person in this movie? He didn't go in the dark basement. Or is he the only wimpy one in the movie? I guess you have to decide. You got two strong females that aren't as scared of dark or the basement, and you got a male who's not going to search for them at all in the basement. So this is where I kind of stopped talking too much about the movie, because it does have a good twist, and I don't want to give a lot away. It's weird like Sleepaway Camp, and I know a lot of you have seen that. You know how that ending is. That's kind of how this is. The difference between these two movies is that Sleepaway Camp was a strong slasher. I mean, the slashing scenes you just don't forget. Especially, there's a scene where I think one of the faces goes into boiling water. Somebody's head goes into boiling water, or on a hot stove. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. I just know that something happens in the kitchen with either boiling water or the hot stove. And then the ending is unforgettable, of course. And so it had a good twist to it, and then it had really cool scenes that you don't forget. Now this one doesn't really have great slasher scenes. It just has those 2 deaths, which really doesn't show a whole lot. But it does have a good story. And so that's what makes it worth a watch. It's a lot different than a lot of the slashers that came out. And it came out before most of these slashers from the 80s became popular. So it didn't really copy off of anything. It was doing its own thing. There are a lot of things that are wrong with it. But it's definitely, if you're an 80s or a fan of 80s horror, you need to watch it and have it in your collection, because it's worth it. It's just one of those movies that holds its own, and the acting's pretty good. Some of it not so much, but most of it's really good. And Barbara Steele's part is really cool, so you have to watch to see, because I can't really talk about it much, because then I'll give it away. So you just need to watch to see, what the ending's all about, because it's pretty twisted. But that's about it for Silent Scream. But I definitely recommend it, really, if you're into 80s horror. I'm glad I got that one in my collection. Now, I got another box here. We'll see what new movie I got. I'm trying to find, more stuff to talk about when I do these videos. I haven't done live videos like this, so it's something new. So I'm just going to get better as I go. So on that one, I looked up a lot of the information about actors and, some facts about the movie to share with you guys. I thought that'd be interesting. But I think if you look it up, it would definitely be considered one of the first slashers before the major ones started to become popular. Okay, so here's this was packed really nice. It was put in a big box with newspapers, plus wrapped in cardboard and bubble wrap. There's no way this movie is getting destroyed, so kudos to the person I bought this off of. And for some reason I get a Sing Street postcard. Sing Street, playing in a city near you, April 15th. Oh, it's a movie, I guess. Musical? Who knows? PG-13? Maybe my girls will like that. I have no idea. But this movie is called The Fury. I'm going to get these stickers off here. But the box is in good shape, besides the stickers being on the front. This is one I haven't seen. I heard a lot about it. I always liked the cover. I remember seeing the cover at the video store. Of course, you can't see some of it. Here's the back. It's got Kirk Douglas in it, so obviously it's probably going to be pretty good. Brian De Palma directed it, so I'm sure it's going to be a good movie. The tape is clean and rewound. Obviously, it's not an X rental. Don't know what year this one came out. It's 1984 or 78. It says that's the year I was born. So there's a lot of good movies that came out in 78, the year I was born. But I'm out for now, so I don't know which one I'll talk about next, but I hope you enjoy.